Stay up out the way, don't get your issue splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Into the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Who Will Be King. I'm here with my NFC North comrades. We had some little confusion earlier figuring out what when the show was going to be. So we appreciate anybody that was still able to tune in. We are now a week going into week 2. We've completed week 1. All of the games that went down amongst us were against each other. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into all that, how are you guys feeling today?
I would be better.
I feel great. We got the offensive player of the week.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. That's
pretty wild, and I'm not going to contend with that because it certainly cannot be a Detroit Lion. We can start off with a recap of the Lions game, and then I will let you guys go head to head and talk about what you guys saw from your game. But it was not a good effort from the Detroit Lions in our first game against Green Bay. This was at Lambeau Field, and we got to witness some of the things that we worried about the most. We saw a inexperienced offensive line, interior offensive line that lacked chemistry. At times, they just looked completely lost as far as pass protection and run blocking. They just were not on the same page. There was instances throughout the game where defensive linemen were just going unabated to the quarterback, unabated to the running back. We almost gave up a safety at one point in the game, but it just was not a pretty effort. There was not a lot to. I mean, I won't say it was all bad. There were certainly some things that looked okay from the Lions' perspective, but overall, we averaged 2 yards rushing. We averaged 2 yards per rush. We only had 46 yards overall, and we allowed 4 sacks. We made it pretty easy for Green Bay to game plan. They had Micah Parsons on a pitch count. He was only really out there for obvious pass situations, and with us averaging 2 yards a rush, starting each set of downs, it made it easy for them to know, okay, 3rd and 8, we can bring Micah Parsons out. They're likely not going to be They're likely not to be going to be running the ball. So we definitely made things easy for them. Although we controlled time of possession by a considerable margin, we could not get in the end zone. It was a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of short passes to Gibbs, Montgomery. We did not have many pass attempts down the field, and a lot of that was just due to the fact that, for one, the edge rushers were able to just rush to no end, but also because we couldn't combat it with play action. There was no deception of whether or not we would run the ball. They weren't worried about our Gibbs and Montgomery getting loose in the secondary because there just was no push from the offensive line. But outside of that, we did ourselves no justice as far as penalties. We had a couple ones that shot us in the foot, and we just couldn't get things rolling. Just a lot of short yardage plays, not a lot of moving down the field. And I thought that we would have the ability to kind of expose and exploit their secondary, but that just never came to fruition. As far as the good things I saw, although Isaac Tesla didn't play a whole lot, I think that I think part of it was the fact that he is a rookie, and they didn't want to throw him to the wolves too quickly, but he was also recovering from a sickness. He did make an amazing catch in the corner of the end zone that, gave us kind of a glimpse of what's to be seen next. So with an otherwise pretty bland and boring offense, I think that the Lions will definitely try to open things up next week and get him some more looks, because for that to be his first catch of his NFL career, it doesn't get any more spectacular than a one hand catch in the corner of the end zone where he just, I don't know how he managed to get 2 feet in, but he did. Jared Goff was okay. Yeah, outside of that interception in the red zone, he took care of the ball. He was pretty accurate. The run defense, I thought one of the keys was going to be our run defense and stopping Josh Jacobs. And for the most part, we did do that. They did break a couple runs later on in the game, just kind of wearing us down. But the run defense was pretty good. We gave up some long passes, unfortunately, but I wasn't terribly disappointed by the secondary. I think one of the other big disappointments was the pass rush. Actually, that was something that was kind of echoed throughout the entire fan base. Was do we need to address the other side of that, the other side of the edge opposite Aiden Hutchinson? He actually had the best game amongst all edge rushers as far as PFF rating. He had a 72 PFF rating, which was better than Micah Parsons, better than Marcus Davenport, better than everybody overall. So although it wasn't it wasn't his best work, you also can't expect Hutch to come back and be the exact same player. There had to have been some nerve, some indecision, because he had not played in any. None of our starters had played in any snaps throughout the preseason, so that was his first opportunity to feel things out and see how things were going to work. So I expect for him to get better. I think everybody's going to get better. I love the overreactions from Lions fans about we miss Ben Johnson and we're not the same without Frank Ragnow, and everybody's kind of jumping out the window. And I think that Lions fans forgot how to deal with a loss. We didn't have much of that last year. We had a pretty good season prior to that, and I think people forgot that yes, you do lose. We do lose games every once in a while, and you just can't. It's just way too soon to overreact, in my opinion. But we definitely have some things to improve upon. And as we talk about the upcoming game against the Chicago Bears, I'll get into that a little bit more. But yes, so the end result of the game was Green Bay winning 27-13, and even that score is. Looks a little bit better than it looked for the majority of that game. That score from Isaac Tesla at the very end was kind of a garbage touchdown when they were kind of in contain and just trying to get the game over with. So that is the Green Bay Packers and Lions games, and I'll let you guys take over with our Monday night game between the two of you guys.
Well, before we go too far in that the first divisional battle that we saw this weekend, one thing stuck out to me while I was watching that game. Actually, I had to pull it off the top, the big screen, and put it on the laptop because the score was not keeping up with what should be on the big screen. But the first thing that did jump out to me there, Foster, is who the hell told Jahmyr Gibbs to change his number?
You know what? Actually, I think it was in honor of. Didn't the corner that passed away from the Vikings, didn't he go to Alabama?
Yes.
I believe the number 0 is
Kyrie Jackson.
I think that's the number.
Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie Jackson. It's either him or Arnold changed numbers to honor him. But it doesn't seem all the way right. And those numbers, players are very superstitious about their numbers, and I don't know what to make of it. There is a rhyme to his reason, though.
It shocked me because that was the second most shocking thing I saw in that game. The other thing was like I noticed, like, well, takes a while to get used to new coaches, huh?
Yeah, I can't look past that and say that that's not to blame for the situation. It very well could be, along with some other things, but yeah, I hope that we can get it together sooner than later, like next week.
No, don't go too fast. Don't move too fast.
Now,
Don't move too fast.
I read where you ran the play action the least amount you have under Man Campbell.
Yeah. I didn't see that actual stat, but I certainly believe it, because there's no point in running play action when they're like, running it. Go ahead, run it. You average 2.5 yards a rush, by all means. But that's Jared Goff is a great
50% in a long time.
Yeah, Jared Goff is a great play action quarterback, and when he has that at his disposal, it makes things a lot better, because when they're able to just pin their ears back and then just rush him right in his face, it creates a recipe for disaster, because he tends to kind of fold and crumble when they get to him.
Well, thanks to the Lions' ineptitude on Sunday, do you see that the Green Bay Packers are now power ranked second in the league?
They deserve it.
They put the second biggest ass whooping on the team on Sunday. If that matters. Other than if butt kickings are connected to the power rankings, Indianapolis Colts got to be number one team. if that's the case.
Danny Dimes. Yep.
That's another overreaction that, we apologize to Daniel Jones. All you needed was a great as if their offensive line is great, but they're like, all you needed was an offensive line to be something.
Who did he credit in the press conference, though?
God.
Or in an interview? It wasn't the offensive line. I'm sure he thanked his teammates. It was getting the KOC fairy dust sprinkled on him over a month. Him and Josh.
It was God.
Same thing. Tomato.
But I am, speaking of God, I am thankful of the Detroit Lions this Sunday, because of you all. A lot of the stink doesn't fall to the Bears. So, Dave, we did have our division matchup on Monday Night Football as well. We performed for the whole football nation.
It's a little bit illuminating.
It was very illuminating. Really,
yes.
I wasn't illuminated at all after that game. I was all the illumination left my body at about 11 minutes left in the game. That's when it started. But before I get into it, Dave, tell us what did you take from that as the one winning team represented on this program?
What did I take? Well, first off, we started out so badly, and it's the whole: do you wrap them in bubble wrap like under the McVay tree, which Kevin O'Connell follows under, which Dan Campbell exhibited as well, even though he doesn't follow under it, keeping the starters preserved. And that first portion of the game, everybody was out of sync. Plays look choppy. Routes didn't look crisp. Blocking didn't look all that great. It was discouraging, to say the least, up through to the fourth quarter, 11 minutes left. It was very, very discouraging. I thought we were going to lose. And I got to hand it to you, Pay. You got the slipperiest quarterback in the league. He should have been sacked more times than he was. because he just squirts out, literally squirts in the arms of Josh Allen and squirts out. It
all
was
that
fun
acrylic.
to watch. He was fun to watch run, which he could do. I think he was your leading rusher, as a matter of fact. But it was frustrating. I thought, oh my God, the way this game started, we're in for a long, long night, and all the boo birds are starting to come out. And oh, you should have kept Sam Darnold. You should have kept Danny Dimes. You should have gotten what's his face from the Steelers, Aaron Jones. All that.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. It was all starting to come out. And it's just like, oh no, this is bad. But our defense, once they figured things out, what the Ben Johnson offense was going to do, because we hadn't beaten Ben Johnson as an offensive coordinator. Brian Flores was 0-4 against him. But once that was figured out, we shut the Bears down. They only scored 10 points offensively up until the last quarter. And it was that first drive and then a later field goal.
I agree with most of what you said. It wasn't the defense, actually. It was Caleb helped in that. Caleb and his slipperiness. Ever since he did start the game 10 of 10, he ended the first half 13 of 16 passing. But in the second half, his accuracy fell off a cliff. He was high on a lot of passes. He missed. The two biggest misses in that game, actually, still, you can't even be too mad at those misses, even though they were god awful, because they still ended those drives and touchdowns. But still, I mean, his accuracy was, I think it held the team back significantly. It wasn't the offensive player that held the team back the most. Jonah Jackson, one of the new offensive linemen we brought in this offseason, probably the worst offensive lineman in all of the whole league for week one. He was pretty bad. As we talked on our recap show that's on the channel now, you can check that out. Jonah Jackson was by far the worst. He out of 47 snaps he had, I think he gave up. I think he lost the snap 15 times out of his total 47. He gave up 6 pressures. He had 2 pre-snap penalties. I think he did get. I think the sack. I think Caleb was only sacked once. I think that sack came through his gap as well. So that didn't help at all.
2 sacks. So
2 sacks.
Hargrave, and yes, it came through his gap.
That didn't help at all. But lucky for Caleb, Caleb's been working on his magician, his Houdini. He did get out of a couple of like precarious situations, but you got to get that accuracy together for Mr. Caleb. I'm sure he does, because when he's on, he is electric. Dave, I know you saw that pass. I know you saw that pass in the first quarter. The man got some talent. It's just we got to bring it all together. Other than that, but to come back full circle, I don't think it was the defense. I think our defense, the Chicago Bears, it couldn't continue for 60 minutes. We came into the game down our best linebacker. We came into the game down our best defensive player, Jalen Johnson, all-pro Jalen Johnson. We came into the game down the highest paid.
Where's my violin button?
Go ahead, get it out, because I'm creating a narrative. We came into the game down the highest paid nickel in the game. Nashawn Wright, who had done a tremendous job covering Justin Jefferson for the majority of the game, he had to lead the game with 2 cramps. I think after a while, it just couldn't hold that offense for too much longer. And as you saw, 3 straight drives, 3 straight tutties. One of them when Aaron Jones ran right past TJ Edwards' backup. I believe that was Noah. ran right past him. Didn't even give him a move, just right past him.
Oh, he
caught the
touchdown to seize him, and then
bye. Barely. He caught him in his back pedal, and then he just after that he was looking at the jersey number. Easy pitch and throw for JJ McCarthy. Shout out to him for the moxie and making those comeback, because every throw he did make, there were some tough throws. Some of them were contested, and so you got to have an immense amount of belief in your abilities to throw some of those passes to Justin that he did, especially that touchdown that he threw to Justin Jefferson. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Your defense figured some things out with the help of our quarterback and the help of our offensive line. Couldn't get a decent push. I did tell you the line of scrimmage is going to be a focal point in this game. Well, the Bears averaged 3.1 on the ground. Well, that's DeAndre Swift. He averaged 3.1 on the ground, and Caleb, if it wasn't for him, we would have been terrible rushing the ball. But on the week 2, right?
Well, not quite. Let's ruminate over this a bit. The first passes by Caleb Williams, 6 of them were off schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most of the rest were also off schedule. Is that going to drive Ben Johnson nuts?
Well, Ben Johnson should be worried about himself and his own play calling. As a rookie head coach, somebody who spent the whole offseason thumping on everybody else about being on time, being on, as you said, on schedule, knowing where to be. Ben, it would have helped that you didn't. It helped if we had more timeouts. You wasn't calling ridiculous challenges. Ben, it would have helped if you put somebody back there to kick the ball who actually has the strength to kick the ball out of the end zone. That would have helped. Or tell them to get the ball out of bounds. What's 5 more yards? What do you do? We can't just shoot ourselves in the foot. I don't think everybody's we played 49 minutes of great football. Well, we played 30 minutes of great football and 49 minutes of winning football. Everything after that, everybody, coach on down, needs to do better.
Well, you talked about injuries. Remember, we didn't have Hitman. We did not have Christian Darrisaw left tackle. And that improved your defense because School, our backup left tackle, was absolutely schooled during the game. It was bad. Now, our offensive line did rather well most of the game pushing, and especially for the run. Jordan Mason just stood out. He had some monster runs that help set the tone along with the defense shutting you down starting in about the second half, but specifically once it came to the fourth quarter. Once JJ McCarthy threw that pick 6 to his welcome to the NFL moment to Nashawn Wright, that was one he knew as soon as he let go, he goes, oh no.
Oh yeah.
And he ran back. But that was like the punch in the face. What woke him up? The whole transformation from good guy to a young Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. If you haven't seen the clips of him just grimacing, somebody did a matchup where they blended that with Darth Vader. And I heard a comparison this week that he's much like Darth Vader, where in the prequels of the Star Trek movie,
orphan?
That each of the bad guys had one thing that Darth Vader was going to have all of. And in the case of JJ McCarthy, it was you had Kirk Cousins and a cerebral, can throw the ball, all that sort of stuff. You had Josh Dobbs and his legs. Then you had Sam Darnold with the ability to throw that ball deep, and it all comes together in one player. And it just took him to the fourth quarter for that to wake up. And then watch out. 21 unanswered points. And that's the only way I can think of that's why he won Offensive Player of the Year. I thought or Player of the Week. I thought it was a joke. I should go to Hurts. But
or Derrick Henry.
It had to be somebody. But that's why he did it. And it's that it factor that people talk about. And from the being in the fourth quarter or third quarter or whatever it was when he walks into the huddle and tells the guys, where would you rather be? And everybody looks at him and goes, well, right here. Yeah. And the whole attitude, you felt the emotion in the stadium switch. You felt the momentum switch on the team. And at that point, we knew Bears are done. And I even said on the post game, we had, what was it? It was close to the very end. It was a kick return or a punt return or something like that. And the guy gets hit in the shoulder. What looked like shoulder arm area went down. And I go, bear down, bear down. Oh no, bear down. And it was a brutal game. We came out dinged up. Blake Cashman tore his hammy about halfway through the game, chasing the elusive, slippery Caleb Williams. It was costly, but it was a good win on Minnesota's part.
Yeah, you scared me for a second there, Dave. You was comparing him to Darth Vader. I thought you were going to say that Mr. McCarthy had lost his own Padme. I was going to say, wow, that's a dark turn.
Well, that would be dark if that's the case. But hey, who knows? May happen in the future, but we'll see.
Oh,
he's got a kid coming though. I doubt it. Kid should be here any second.
He's like 17. he is like
He's
Anakin.
22.
McCarthy?
The youngest starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right.
Time to start laying it down.
But he's got the it factor. And I can't be happier. Now I want him to play better, especially all four quarters, not just one.
Right.
But I mean, he looked like he hadn't played in over 2 years, which he hadn't.
Correct. All right. So what?
Well, it was a great game.
So that concludes week 1. We will be back after a quick commercial break with previews for week 2. All right, we are back. The Green Bay Packers actually play tomorrow on Thursday night against the Washington Commanders, who are coming off a 21-6 victory against the G-Men. Hopefully that was too quick of a turnaround, and the Packers will take the loss next week. But we will see. That will be another game at Lambeau Field, it looks like. So
Tomorrow night at Lambeau.
3.5 point favorites.
And they number 2 power ranking, well deserved. They turned us everywhere but loose in that game, and I just like to forget about that. I want to act like that never happened. But
I try to fit a Wire, The Wire, my favorite TV show. I try to fit a phrase into my daily lexicon every day. That is my challenge. And you telling me that they deserve to be favorites? I'm telling them FGB, because deserve got nothing to do with it. Shout out to Snoop.
Too. I respect that, Snoop. Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right. So Dave you played Sunday night, right?
Correct.
All right. So the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions.
Oh, we got to save your game for the last.
That's last? Okay. All right. Well, set it off. Unless you have anything else to say about the Commander game, we can get right into it.
I do hope the Commanders go in there and just knock them down a peg or two. Oh, God, please.
Yeah.
But no, then we have my home opener on Sunday night, live TV again, against the Atlanta Falcons. We have Michael Penix, and is proving that reach means something. If you saw that meme, you know what I'm talking about. And he's coming to town.
I did.
Kirk Cousins will be on the sideline counting his money as usual. And it's going to be interesting to see. The Vikings are favored, I believe, if I remember correctly. But we are hurting in the injury department. But it's going to be the home debut of J.J. McCarthy. Anytime we get inside U.S. Bank Stadium, it's advantage Vikings because the crowd is absolutely outstanding and makes a huge difference. We're going to see how it plays out. We should have an easier time for the defense, believe it or not. Our defense should have an easier time against the Falcons. And our offense hopefully will too.
I agree. I was never the highest on Michael Penix as far as in that quarterback class. I think him and Bo Nix were easily the two worst quarterbacks in that class. Nothing I've seen so far. Yeah, nothing I've seen so far has changed my opinion so far. I mean, Penix he's made some plays, but going back to that meme that you referenced, he had to do a lot of stretching, and when you try to do that stretch to the goal line, you got to have big hands, and he kept dropping the ball. That's going to be concerning for a quarterback as he goes forward.
And no quarterback we play the rest of the season until Chicago again is as maneuverable as Caleb Williams. They're going to want to sit in the pocket, and that includes Penix. And that's going to be a disaster with Jonathan Hargrave or Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. They're just going to go to town.
Yeah, going to town on a stationary Penix. You don't even want to imagine it.
Sounds wild.
Add in our edge rushers, and boy, it's going to be a blast.
Edging the stationary Penix. Wow, that's dangerous territory. I've got nothing else but I do like Minnesota in that game. Not because everything I saw at Atlanta on Sunday, it wasn't that convincing, anything like that. It's again going back to Penix and the rest of that offense. They still don't know. They still don't do anything with Kyle Pitts. Drake London is still underutilized. Bijan underutilized. And I don't think it gets any easier going against the Vikings defense.
They put up some yards against the Bucks, though. Like
yeah, but the Bucks like that. They live for a flair of dramatics. They, especially in the division games, it's always pulling teeth with the Bucks. So I don't take any of that. To me, if you were really ready to take the next step, and a lot of people think the Falcons are ready to take the next step this season, they'd have did something. They'd have did a lot more things dangerous to the Bucks. They'd have forced Baker to be a lot more put his cape on a lot earlier than he had to. But I'm not convinced. I think the Vikings can take care of business, cover that 3 real easily.
I hope so. I hope our injuries didn't affect us. Hitman is still recovering. Christian Darrisaw is still recovering. Questionables. They're working their way back. Like I said, Blake Cashman, he tore his hammy. He'll be out. Ty Chandler hurt his knee. Had to have been on the run out of that last kick. Why you kicked it to us, I have no idea. And for those that don't know, there was 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. The Bears go to kick off. They want to not run any time off the clock. We're going to return the kick so we can get it under the 2 minutes because they only have one timeout left in the 2 minute warning. And they kicked it to us. And we ran it out, ran the clock down to 1:55. They lost the 2 minute warning, basically as an extra timeout. And everybody's scratching their head. Why did Ben Johnson do that? And then what I found interesting is they came out and said, there's a clause or error or a bug in the rule, you know what the appropriate response would have been? Right? We talk about kicking the ball out of bounds, and then you get it where it's goes out of bounds or at the 45 or whatever. No time would have been run off. But the appropriate one is for the kicker to muff it about 2 yards in the field.
To kick it, well, what you mean?
But then they'll still field it, though.
No, we can't. We could. The Vikings could. But
Right.
if you touched it, it's not an onside kick because it wasn't declared. It's
Right.
dead. And no
Dead.
time gets run off.
But it would have been the field
It would have been
position.
brought out at the 45 or whatever it was. But
Right. Yeah. So
that'll be fixed. The bug.
now to the game of the week. With the Lions hosting, I'll let Pay do the honors of just telling us what he sees in this game. What are the keys? Just give us the rundown from a Bears perspective.
You know what I did initially after our choke on Monday Night Football? I would say I was a little down in the dumps, but then I had to realize all the real ones are 0-1. Baltimore Ravens are 0-1. Kansas City Chiefs 0-1. Bears 0-1. Detroit Lions 0-1. You know why? We gonna get it out the mud. We gonna pull this. This season is gonna be the season of trenches and glow up. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad, V Foss. We got a battle of 0-1s. We're gonna see who get out the trenches first. That's all it is, and then use that as a step up. But
Our translation, who goes 0-2 first?
that's fine. That's whoever goes 0-2 is going to have it might be difficult. It might be difficult sledding, but I do have faith in the makeup of both teams to figure things out. Just because I don't think either team is that destitute that they would let that carry on for a long time. But going into this game, obviously Ben Johnson, Randall Lale, and a host of others know the Detroit Lions very intimately. Right. Same on the other side. They know the coaches on the Bears sideline. That's got to speak for something because you already know how they do in sports. We trade for a guy, you definitely want to bring him into the room and ask him, hey, so tell us about how they do things over there in West Bumblehill, wherever you just came from. That's definitely going to be a point of emphasis while they're doing the install and doing their film study leading into this game. What are the keys that you look for? What are the things that the Detroit Lions are good at? What makes them successful? And we're definitely going to bring back to that Packers game. How were the Packers able to push around that offensive line? How were the Packers able to contain Montgomery, Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles? How were the Packers able to make Jared Goff look like he is super coordinator dependent? How can we mimic that response? It's going to be difficult. I'm looking at the injury report one more time after it drops tomorrow to see if we're going to have some of our studs back. But if not, you got to roll with what we got. Caleb Williams, I did say, not Caleb Williams yet, but I did say Jonah Jackson did have a terrible game. The rest of the offensive line, pretty good as far as PFF grades are concerned. Braxton Jones, the much maligned left tackle for the Bears, he's going to have his hands full yet again. Aiden Hutchinson, who, as you said, Speed False, you said PFF gave him a great grade. I have him on one of my fantasy teams, and I was like, I didn't see him do anything. It definitely gave me a 0 across the board, but I would trust what PFF and what you saw. But he's going to have his hands full. The Bears did a great job of not leaving him on an island. I want to see more of that. Braxton Jones, he's limited in his athletic ability. He's limited in his strength. He's limited in his health. We can't leave him out there to snuff. Maybe that means we don't see that 12 personnel that we thought we would see so much because they got a chip block and do some other things on the offensive line. So be it. We got to keep Caleb Caleb Williams upright and make sure that he is able to have a clean pocket. So he ain't scrambling around. I need him to stay in that pocket and deliver the pass where it should be. Hidden deep. So you have, when you do have the instances of running back, of not a running back, but a wide receiver like DJ Moore running down the sideline, so open that he's naked, that he can hit him on stride. Or Roma Duze, when he has a nickel cornerback by himself with no over-the-top help, and he hits that post and has him on his hip, Caleb can hit him in the chest in stride and get that touchdown. If he's not running around and necessarily having to escape pressure and having to do all that other stuff, he can be his best version. So that's the key that I'm looking to see. I want to see improved play from the interior of that line, talking to you, Jonah Jackson, and keeping with the plan to keep Aiden Hutchinson out of Caleb's face.
I got a quick question. What's up with DJ Moore? Why did he go to the hospital?
I thought it was something with a with an ankle injury is what I heard. I didn't hear it was a long stay. The
reports didn't state. I don't think it was. It just said he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything anything crazy about that. That's news to me. He didn't leave the game early.
After the game.
Yeah,
could have been cramps, needed intravenous stuff. I have no idea.
Probably because they had him lined up as a running back, running up the middle.
That's not a big deal. DJ Moore's built like that.
He's built like a running back. I'm talking shit, but he is a running back.
But what about the rest of your limp and lame? TJ Edwards, is he going to be back?
TJ Edwards is probably going to miss a month. He's got a hamstring injury. I'm not looking for him to be back anytime soon. We're going to have to just figure it out with Deo and Noah and Hippolyte. Deo had a very good game against the Vikings, so I'm interested to see him out there a lot more. Jalen Johnson, perhaps, maybe he was getting close to returning before they ultimately said, "Nah, we don't sit this one out." It's been described, as we get more and more news about this stuff. Originally, it was just kind of characterized as a lower body injury for Jalen Johnson. Now we're finding out that it was a calf, groin strain, all of this extra stuff. So as I said, he's the best defensive player on the team. You want to take that slow. You don't want to lead one soft tissue injury and make it a long season thing because he's too important to the squad. If you got to miss this week, so be it. Kyler Gordon, he's always struggled with hamstring injuries. He wasn't on the initial injury report when we did our preview, Dave, on Thursday.
Uh-huh.
He didn't show up on the report until Saturday. Well, was it Saturday or Sunday? One of those days, which tells me that it's a very recent thing. So if just based on his history with hamstrings, I'm not optimistic that he's out there either. So to that point, we just got to roll with it. Dennis Allen, no choice. Got no choice. Nashon, get those fluids in, buddy. No more cramps. No more cramps, bro. Not TJ, but Stevenson, Tyreek, time to crack.
Absolutely. And from the Lions side of things, I am not ready to panic like a part of the Lions faithful as far as, this is not going to be our year. The window is closed now. But I do expect and want to see some improvements from the team. Most importantly, from the interior offensive line. We can ill afford to have another game where the entire offensive line is in the bottom 5 of PFF ratings amongst the offensive players. That just can't happen. Christian Mahogany and Graham Glasgow were both amongst that 40-50 range. They just look lost. And, I anticipated that a little bit just because they didn't play a lot in the preseason. They didn't play together. and they're also dealing with a brand new offensive coordinator. My other concern is when after watching JJ McCarthy, watching Caleb Williams both play, I noticed that we are the only team within the division that does not have a dual threat quarterback that can create with his legs, extend plays when they're flushed from the pocket. And, the Lions have that's always been a thorn in their side, is those running quarterbacks. So we need to try to contain Caleb Williams. He obviously had 58 rushing yards, including a rushing touchdown. And we need to try to hold him at bay, because when he can create opportunities, when the play is broken, he can make things happen with his arm as well. So that's definitely a major key for us is locking him into that pocket. But lastly, just more explosive plays. I saw something from Tesla. We talked about the play action and the lack of play action. A lot of our big plays and long pass receptions have come at the hand of play action opportunities. So that's one thing that we need to improve upon. We control the time of possession, and we had that part down. We just couldn't get in the end zone. We kicked a couple field goals. We had that touchdown at the end, but we need to punch it in. I need to see the Lions win by several scores this week, just to give a resurgence to the fan base, and just give us a shot in the arm, because I think that there are already some doubts. I think that we came into the Packers game, and I think that we were still in that haze of we were 15-2 last year, and the reality is this is another year where there's a target on our back, and it's not a certain. This is not a guarantee. We need to start playing like we're the underdogs, and we need to prove something. So I expect this to be a whole lot better. I expect us to put up a lot more points this week. But I saw some things from Chicago. I saw them, get to JJ McCarthy. I saw them create points with their defense, and those are all things that we have to be concerned about, because there was some issues protecting the passer last week, and we can't allow that to happen 2 weeks in a row. If for some godforsaken reason we lose to the Bears, it may be time to panic at that point. Home opener, we need to come out guns a-blazing and open up the offense. Even early on in the game for Ben Johnson, I feel like it took him a while. When we had Ben Johnson, it took him a while to get loose and to open the offense up. And it's kind of the same thing that I saw from Johnny Morton. The only difference is he doesn't have that same grace and that same reputation of, all right, he'll get it together. We didn't see too much of that. So I expect to see a healthy and a much more utilized Tesla and a much more dynamic offense, because we were like a top 5 offense last year, and I didn't see any of that. Yes, we missed Frank Ragnow, and we do have essentially two rookies playing on the interior. Tate Ratledge, who is 100% a rookie, and Christian Mahogany, that only played a handful of snaps because we did have Kevin Zeitler last year. So I expect to see adjustments made and a much more dynamic and cohesive offensive performance going into the game. Do you have a score prediction, Tate?
Early in the week for the score prediction. Let me see. I saw, as we did, Pay Dirt, the football gambling show on my channel earlier today. The Bears are 6-point dogs going into Detroit this week. My prediction, well, because I mentioned it, I think that spread is reactionary. I definitely don't 6 points, way too big of a gulf for these two teams coming off losses. One of them, your team, looking as drastic as it's ever looked in the last few seasons. For me right now, I would say 2017, 2016, either way.
So a pretty low scoring game.
Yeah, I don't have super, based on what I saw this last week. Offense is going to be a work in progress for both squads. The defense is definitely going to be the ones that's going to be shining stars for the first 6 weeks, perhaps, for these two teams. I'm confident 2016, 2017, basically +6 Bears.
Okay. My prediction is 34-20 Lions.
Of course.
Whoa, that's a lot of offense.
We had a great offense last year. I mean, I guess if you put it all into that Packers game, the hell, we scored 13 again, I guess. But we'll be in the dome, we'll be at home. They're going to open up that offense. You're going to see a lot more Isaac Tesla. You're not going to see Jahmyr Gibbs run for 20 yards again. You're not going to see Montgomery average 2 yards a carry. He falls forward half the time, and that's 2 yards right there. So you're not going to see the same game.
Well,
we don't have a rookie quarterback either.
I can't wait to the videos coming out of Chicago.
David Montgomery loves playing against the Bears, so that point I would give you.
He's not even the best running back on the team.
Yeah, but he is the one that takes it as a personal affront that he's no longer a Chicago Bear. So he wants to make sure they are well aware that this is what they passed up on. No disrespect there, King Dave. I mean, Chicago likes the Daves. So I mean, But but everything else, If you say the Lions are going to score 34, it's probably because you're due. You're backed up because you didn't score anything.
For sure.
You
Brown didn't score.
Let that out.
Gibbs didn't score. I mean, we put up a ton of points last year, unless the offensive line, which I can't speak to them just turning the corner the next game, but I sure as hell would hope so.
Yeah, if you want to make that argument that you're backed up and you gotta get a release, that's fine. You won't be sowing your royal oats this weekend. You have to wait another week to get day off. Birthday is coming up, so do that at closer to that time. Bears got to take care of the business though this weekend.
Whose birthday? Mine?
Yours.
Somebody's
at midnight. Yeah.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. Yep. So they better do something because I'll be in the air on the way home. So I would hate to get that message. Go ahead.
You and June are going to be not going to be able to be there in spirit to help the squad. Yeah, Bears to get care of the business. 24-17. We going up some more.
Yeah. Luckily, I won't be on Spirit. I'll be Delta this time.
Woo. Well, I mean, yeah, they got a hub up there in Detroit. Yeah, so that makes sense. Still lost.
Well, we'll see.
At least got a good baseball team this season.
Absolutely. We've beaten up on the Yankees right now, or we were last I checked.
Speaking of the Yankees, they finally let my guy come home. Anthony Rizzo announced his retirement today. Anthony Rizzo, Mr. Cub, Mr. Modern Day Cub. No disrespect, Ernie. He caught the final out in 2016. Got traded to the Yankees. Spent the last 4 seasons in the Yankees. Now he announced his retirement. Retiring the Cubs Saturday. I need to be in the building. And then those good vibes carry on over to the Bears. Bear down.
Yeah, and he was in New York yesterday. They showed him on TV. He got some love. But yeah, they got smoke. So hopefully that's that energy. I hope that getting smoke energy, rolls right into Chicago, so they can be prepared for what's to come on Sunday.
Or not.
But Dave, what you got going on this week over on Vikings First and School?
Well, we audio recorded the first X's and Skulls show earlier today, where we have Tyler Fornes and Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, and they're going to dissect films. We didn't have it ready in time to go live, but it'll come out in the morning, as well as this show, and then we will roll in. We'll have Tyler again tomorrow night, Thursday, and then two old bloggers on Saturday morning with the pregame. We're the only one that does it at 10 a.m., but we do it for a reason. Why is that? So you can watch all the college game day that you wish and digest the words of wisdom from all three of us now on Two Old Bloggers.
You're a game day guy or a big noon guy, Dave?
I prefer when we play at noon. If that's what you're asking, versus you're talking college football. Whatever's on that strikes my fancy. I don't watch the pregame stuff.
Yeah,
I don't need that.
They put a lot of money into those pregames, Dave. They put a lot of money into that pregame spectacle, and
they do. They nobody guys around everywhere.
Nobody I know watches that stuff. Yeah. Okay. So you got McAfee out there kicking field goals. Great. When's the game start?
And Pay, what's going on over at your YouTube channel?
Actually, as I said earlier, we did finally get that recap video up. Apologies to anybody that watched it originally when it posted this morning. Audio issues prevented that stream, but the issue has been corrected. The video is now up on YouTube, and the audio is out there wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Pandora, wherever you get your fix, we're there for you. Other than that, we do have it is football season. You know the drill. We got a preview coming up, and we're going to record that tomorrow. That should hit your airwaves Friday morning, ready for your morning drive. And there we are. We do we? I don't know. The White Sox season has been over so long. I think there is an episode we got coming out for them sooner rather than later as well. But yeah, the Cubs, we still do have a recap for their series as finishing up tonight against the Atlanta Braves. That should be posted before the night ends as well. There's a lot of good stuff at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, wherever you get your podcast fix, and everything is also posted on YouTube. Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans.
And last but not least, obviously, if you're here right now, you are familiar with us, but please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleachers to Speakers, where we bring you Lions, Pistons, and Tigers for now. We're actually starting to streamline. We're going to start streamlining it to a Corner to Copa on its own personal YouTube channel. So just so we can start getting out some, prospects, because the Tigers have one of the top farm systems in baseball. So we want to make sure that you guys can find that stuff. So we'll be adding some links to the bio and making that accessible to you as well. And June will, I think he said that there won't be a pregame this week. I'll be out of town. And there won't be a pregame. We did a little bit we've done some pregame stuff, but he will for sure be doing a post game after the Chicago Bears and Lions game is done around 5:00. So stay tuned for that. And me and Coach will be recapping a week in Tigers baseball on Monday. So plenty to look forward to as far as Detroit sports is concerned. And fellas, as we get out of here, what did they say in Chicagoland?
Bear down.
Dave, what do they say in Minnesota?
Well, first off, we'd like to extend to anybody that's in Chicago to bring in to buy and purchase their hometown quarterback of the future's jersey, number 9, JJ McCarthy. And same for you, Foster. Anybody in Michigan who's wanting to bring in their former Michigan star, JJ McCarthy, purchase his jersey and welcome on the wagon. And of course, we say Skull Vikings.
Do we have the lion sound this week? All right, thanks for joining us this week.
Get your lick back. If a nigga gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting shit slide and get your lick back. And get your